Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Made by Britsie, episode number 14. Hi everyone, if this is your first time watching, I'm Brittany and I'm coming to you from Boston, Mass, where I live with my husband Dave and our brand new daughter Mila. I just want to start off by saying that if you notice some changes with the content of the podcast, that's because I've kind of taken a step back and decided that I wanted to change a few things. Nothing major, just really kind of looking at kind of revamping the podcast and thinking about the content I'm providing and making sure that it's stuff that I'm interested in, stuff that you guys are going to be interested in. I think when I first started podcasting, I took a lot of inspiration from other podcasts, which is great because, there are so many great podcasts out there with a lot of good ideas and good information. But some of it I feel like is not relevant to me or this podcast. And I don't know, just thought of a few new things I want to add. I hope you enjoy them. And I'm open to any feedback. So there'll just be like some new areas or topics that I chat about towards the end of the podcast. So I totally forgot to draw the name for the giveaway. I was going to do that at the beginning of the episode, so we'll just do a little cut and paste. So I did this old-fashioned way. I wrote down all the names on a piece of paper and put them in this my knitting cup. I think I got this from IKEA, but it looks like it has little net stitches on it, which is super cute. I have a bunch of pieces of paper in here with everyone's name on them. I'm just going to shake it up and draw a name. Let's see. Make sure to get them nice and mixed up. So we have Donna C. From New York. I think that's what I put. Yeah. So congratulations, Donna. I'm super excited for you. I never win any giveaways, so I think this is just so cool. I will, if you follow me on Instagram or if you're on Instagram, send me a DM with your address and we can chat about whether you want this skein, which is the sport weight yarn that I dyed, or if this is totally not colors that you're into, I'm happy to dye you something else. So yeah, shoot me a DM on Instagram, or just in case you don't have Instagram, I will reply to your comment on the last episode with my email, and then you can email me your address if you're more comfortable doing it that way. So anyway, congratulations again to Donna C. from New York. And I hope to hear from you soon. The first thing I want to share with you guys is my one and only finished object this week, and it's this cute little bonnet that I knit for my daughter Mila. This is the HUGO hat. It's a pattern by Allison McCarney, I believe. I'll insert a picture so you can see just how cute it is on her. This was kind of what I needed, as I'll talk about when I show my whips. There's a hat that I'm working on that it just is not for me. So this was a super quick little knit, just something to kind of refresh my palette, because all the other projects I have are going to be a little more time consuming. So I just wanted something quick that I could whip up. This is knit out of DK weight yarn. I believe this is the Fiber Co. I didn't lose the tag. I have a little bag with all of my ball bands in it, and I do not know what I did with it. We rearranged the living room a couple weeks ago, and I think it got misplaced. So if you need to know what the color is, feel free to comment, and I will find the ball band and I'll let you know. But it definitely is the Fiber Company. I really love this yarn. It's my first time knitting with this yarn. I really like this color. And And yeah, overall this pattern was great. Like I said, it knit up really quick. It was a really straightforward pattern, nothing too crazy. I love these little baubles, and I know a lot of times, so I had a hard time getting my baubles to kind of pop out. And I think a lot of people have issues with that. So what I actually did, I'm so sorry if it's noisy today. There seems to be like an insane amount of construction vehicles going down our road. Anyway, so yeah, what I did to make my baubles pop, so you knit the row with the baubles, and then you're knitting stockinette, so obviously you purl back, and then the next time I knit a row, I just picked up a stitch like kind of on the back of the bauble, one of the looser stitches, and knit it together with the stitch that I was knitting, and it just kind of like tightened it up a little bit and made it kind of pulled it up and made it pop. So that's what worked for me. Just a little suggestion. I think everyone kind of has their own techniques. But yeah, so I knit, I forget if this was 0 to 6 months or the 3 to 6 month size, but it's supposed to fit up to 6 months. Mila is almost 4 months, and this is almost too small. Well, as far as the chin strap goes. So just be conscious if you do knit this. If you're able to, maybe try it on the baby first and make sure the chin strap is long enough, or you could leave it off altogether and just do ties instead. I've seen that done, and that's super cute. Okay, so next up, I have my whips or works in progress. And the first one I have to show you is, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast. I forget if I didn't have a whole lot done, so I forget if I talked about it or if I left it out. But this is the SHIFTY or Shifted, the Shift. So this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. She's got kind of like 3 patterns in this collection, so that's why I'm having a hard time remembering this name, because they're all like, I knit the Night Shift, which is the big worsted weight shawl that I showed on the last episode, and then she also has a little bandana style cowl that I think is Shifty, and I believe this is Shifted. I could be wrong, but whatever I post will be correct. So yeah, this is a top-down crop sweater that uses the mosaic knitting technique, or mosaic colorwork technique. So this calls for sport weight yarn. I am using sport weight as the main color and worsted weight as the contrasting colors. That's mainly because after I finished the Night Shift shawl, I really was in love with the colors, and it had a lot of yarn left over. So I just kind of wanted to see how it would turn out if I used worsted as the color, or as the contrasting colors. So far, I think it's fine. So I had thought about going down a size to account for the change in gauge due to using worsted weight yarn, but I went ahead and decided to just go ahead and knit my correct size. So hopefully that works out. Yeah, I really like how it's knitting up. It looks a little different than like the sample version, or the original version that she shows, because she uses spin cycle yarns, which it's gorgeous, but I'm not about to buy the amount of spin cycle that would be needed to knit this. So yeah, the sport weight yarn that I'm using is actually one that I dyed myself. It's just a lot of undyed parts, and then just like little stripes of like a really light blue. I just wanted something subtle, nothing too crazy, and yeah, so far this is going really well. It seems to be slow going because there's over 200 stitches on the needles right now, on my needles right now, which isn't like anything crazy, but after like knitting the Night Shift and with worsted weight yarn on large needles, and it felt like it moved very quickly, this just seems to be slow going, but I do really like it. As with, I think, most of her patterns, she calls for a tubular cast on, which I really like. I think it just gives like a nice finished touch. It's really not that much more difficult than doing a regular cast on. I mean, it's one of those things, once you kind of learn, you get in the rhythm and it really just becomes second nature. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like if that's a technique you haven't tried out before, maybe give it a shot, and I think you'll really like the look. And it is nice. It makes it nice and stretchy, which is great for like necklines, socks. The contrasting colors that I'm using at the moment, this blue is Malabrigo Rios, and I think the colorway is Tormenta. This dark, like kind of burnt orange is Quince & Co. Owl Tweet in the Russet colorway, and this is like one of my favorite colors at the moment. I feel like I'm gonna buy. Let me find the ball. I feel like I'm gonna buy a few more skeins just to have on hand to use in other projects. But yeah, I really, really love this color. This is, I think, wool and alpaca, if I remember correctly. So my next work in progress is the Everyday Slouchy Beanie, which is a pattern by Dragon Horde Yarns. So as it turns out, this is not working out for me. No fault of the pattern. I think I just have to accept that hats do not look good on me. I think I've knit one hat that I actually like, and I think I'll share that on the next podcast. It is like technically a finished object, but it's probably, I think I knit it last winter, so yeah, it's kind of old, but not old, but anyway. Yeah, this hat, I do really like the pattern. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's kind of like just a good basic beanie. This is what I have so far. My favorite thing about this hat is the folded brim. It's basically, it does mean you're knitting like or twice as much for the brim, and then you fold it up and knit the stitches together. So it is extra knitting, but honestly, I think it makes such a nice like rounded edge, so you can't see like your cast on edge, and it just makes it really thick, so you have like an extra layer over your ears, which is great for winter. I knit this using, it calls for fingering weight yarn held with mohair. This bottom color is Madeline Tosh, Tosh Mo Light, I believe, in the smokestack colorway. And the second color, because I wanted to do a color blocked version, is also Madeline Tosh. It's her work sock in the colorway Horn, and so that's the second color, which I also really, really love this color. It's like a good neutral, but it's not boring. It's got like speckles of like navy blue, orange. Yeah. By the way, I know Jimmy Bean's Wool bought Madeline Tosh, and I'm just wondering, it makes me so nervous. Like Madeline Tosh always had like really good sales, like the Black Friday sale, and just for every holiday she usually had a sale. So I'm just wondering what's gonna happen with that, because you guys know I love some Madeline Tosh. Yeah, so anyway, it's being held together with, what happened to my with this silk and mohair yarn. It's by Shibui, and it's their Silk Cloud and the Mineral colorway. Yeah, it's crazy soft. I love it, and I've used this in so many projects, and it just keeps like going and going and going. So you do get a lot of yardage for your money, because it is kind of pricey. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. This hat just, again, nothing wrong with the pattern. It just does not look right on me. So I was gonna frog it, but I absolutely hate ripping out mohair. It's the worst. So my neighbor came over the other day, and I had her try it on, and she loves it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish it, and it'll be a gift knit for her. My next work in progress is the NAVELLI sweater, which is a pattern by, or NAVELLI top, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I really thought or planned on having this finished by now, but I don't know. I had some hiccups along the way, and it's kind of in a timeout right now. So, and I also kind of had a reality check. Like I realized this is not going to be practical for winter, so I'm just setting it aside and working on, heavier sweaters that I'll get more wear from this winter, and I'll save this for next spring or summer. Yeah, so actually this is probably, because I had to frog a few inches, so this is actually, I had more done on it on the last episode, if that makes sense. So the issue I had was that it calls for a size 3 to do the ribbing. I used a size 2 because I think at the time I didn't have a size 3, and I really wanted to get started on this. So anyway, didn't even think about it until you knit the color work, you start knitting some of the body, and then she has you switch back to the needles that you used for the ribbing. I don't know why I didn't even think about this. So I put it back on my size 2s. Was just knitting along, and when you knit stockinette, it tends to curl like this, so I couldn't see that the gauge was significantly different. I mean, obviously I'm using the color work, I used a size 4, so jumping from a size 4 back to a size 2, I mean, it was going to be noticeable. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. So I mean, I really hadn't knit that much. I think maybe 3.5 inches. So I decided I couldn't live with it, so I ripped back, ended up putting it on my size 3 Leica needles, which, quick note, I've had so many issues with those, like, breaking. Well, I think 2 of them I sat on, so that's no fault of theirs, because obviously they're wooden needles, they're gonna snap. But another one just kind of broke on its own, where the needle connects to the joint, or the joint where the wood connects to the metal. And then other ones, like I have the short tips, those tend to like split at the joint. So you'll be knitting along and find that your yarn is snagging, and then you can see like a crack in the wood, and it's just so annoying. But I went to my local yarn shop to see if they had replacement needles, and they actually, I guess, have a contract with Leica, and if you bring them your broken needle, they send it back, and they'll get a new one for you for free. So you do have to wait for it to come in, which it is kind of a pain. But I guess I will say they do have great customer service, and I've heard that you can just contact them directly and they'll send you new needles. So yeah, just an FYI if you do have those needles, because I know they're very popular, and I feel like I'm probably not the only one who's having needles break on them. So yeah, before you spend money like constantly replacing needles, check with the company or check with your local yarn shop and see if they offer that. Yeah, so back to what I was saying about my NAVELLI. I was knitting it on the size 3 Leica needles, and I was having the issue where it split. So anyway, I went and bought size 3 Addies, which I love Addies. They're like one of my all-time favorite needles. So again, I was just knitting happily along, and I don't know what I did. I think somehow, because this is at the point where I'm just doing stockinette, I knit a lot with Mila on my lap. So she tends to like grab at the yarn, grab at my project. And anyway, somehow I think I like did a short row in the middle of my project. Like, I don't know what I did. I ended up with this weird, I can't even find it, with this weird like loop hanging off of the back. And when I went to kind of undo that stitch, it ended up being like a lot more stitches anyway, I'm just going to rip back and start again. It was only a couple inches worth of work. So not a huge deal, but either way, this is getting set aside at the moment. But this is a gorgeous pattern. If you like color work, I mean, obviously you probably know who Caitlin Hunter is, but she does have a lot of really pretty color work patterns. I just really like her style. So yeah, that's what I have so far. The hard part is done, or so I thought. So for my last work in progress, I have this cute little like head wrap that I just found. And I'm totally going to screw up the pronunciation because I believe this woman or this designer is French. So this is called I think it's probably pronounced ROSEAUX. I'm tempted to say ROSEAUX because when you see the spelling, so I grew up close to Louisiana and there's a lot of Boudreaux. So when I see the EAUX, I want to pronounce it that way. So ROSEAUX. And her name is BEANIE. Anyway, yeah, just I know I screwed that up, but I'll put her info on the side. You should really check out her patterns. I feel like on Ravelry, obviously like the Andrea Mallory patterns, the Caitlin Hunter patterns, there's like, you know, a few designers that their patterns are always, if your Ravelry is sorted by the hot right now, you're gonna see like all the really popular trendy designers, which is great because they have amazing patterns, but at the same time I think there's like a lot of designers that are kind of hard to find, and they have a lot of them have really good patterns, and this is one of them. So check out her. She has quite a few patterns on Ravelry, and not just like garments. She has like some cool things like I bought a wall hanging pattern and a like little tote bag pattern, and this one. So her patterns are currently buy two get one free. And the other cool thing is, from what I could tell, she uses like the big craft store yarns, like Lion brand yarns, and I think Vanna's was the other one that she showed, which I think is, obviously you can use whatever yarn you want, but I think it's great when they show you know, something more budget friendly, and just show how it can work for the project. Also, she has like really good photos, and at least for this pattern, she has like picture tutorials. The pattern is just really like well written and like beginner friendly from what I can tell. Like so many great pictures. She has links for tutorials. I mean, it's just really great, like how she has it set up. Yeah, so check her out. And I just started this last night. So I went to Michael's and I got this Red Heart Soft, and this is in the colorway Toast. It's just kind of like a light golden brown, and yeah, this yarn was like less than $5, which is crazy. And obviously it's not gonna use the whole ball, so I do have, when I'm finished with this, I have another project that the pattern isn't released yet, but I'll talk about it maybe the next episode, that I intend to use this yarn in. So yeah, so far I'm just knitting in the round, and then she showed you how to seam it to make a little head wrap. And I just started this last night, like probably at like midnight, honestly, when Milo would not go to sleep. But yeah, it knits up quick. It's worsted weight yarn on size US 10.5 needles. And it was kind of just what I needed after like the satisfaction of finishing that little hat for Mila. I needed another quick project. Yeah, so super excited for this. I'll definitely have this done by the next episode so you guys can see what it looks like on. So this week I actually have some sewing to share with you guys. So I haven't had sewing, well, obviously I've only had one podcast recently, and I didn't have any sewing to share, and to be honest, I haven't done that much sewing in the past year, mainly because I no longer have a designated craft room, so my sewing machines are kind of in the hallway closet, which they're still easy to get to and set up, but I'm now sewing in the kitchen. And it's just, I like to have things in order. I don't like to leave my stuff out really. So it's just kind of a pain when I don't have a lot of sewing time. So when I do sew, the projects are usually like stretched over like a week or longer, depending what it is. So when I do set up my sewing machines, they're out for quite a while, and I don't know, it's just kind of annoying. And I usually spend my time knitting now, although there's so many things that I want to sew. But this pattern is one that I've been wanting to sew for a while. I've had the pattern for a while, and just never got around to it. So these are, because I made 3. These are the Hudson pants, which is a pattern by True Bias. Super popular pattern. I'm sure you guys have seen it. So I actually also didn't have much of a reason to make them before, because when I was working, I usually wore scrubs. And I just didn't want to spend any time. Like, I was more into making like dresses and things like that. I didn't want to spend time making like loungewear, which is kind of like what this is, but it's kind of like elevated loungewear. Like, I just feel, I love these pants. They're super trendy. They're like the jogger style pants, tapered leg with a little cuffed ankle or ankle band. Yeah, and I really, really love these pants. They are popular for a good reason. They're super easy to make, super quick. And they just have like a few like finishes that I think really kind of bump them up a notch as far as like just like kind of pajama pants go. So they have this little pocket detail, which is, I think, so easy, but it's just a nice touch. They have elastic waistband and drawstring, and just the stitching on the elastic kind of keeps it. I always have like where my elastic rolls, and it's so annoying. This will not do that because it's stitched down. They are tapered, so you get a nice fit. Like, they're pretty fitted, so I think it's very flattering. So I am very short. These are already cropped, and I had to cut off, I think, 3 inches. But that gave me the perfect length. I did make these out of 3 different fabrics, so I'll go over that with you in case you're thinking about making them and you're kind of trying to decide which knit to use. So this first pair is kind of like a lightweight knit. It's actually like double layered. I'm not sure what kind it is, but it's still pretty lightweight. I've had this in my stash for a while, and I had this in mind for the Hudson pants for a while. But yeah, it's lightweight, which is great. They're super comfortable and super easy to sew. But I mean, I do wear these. These are like my knitting pants now. My knitting pants. I basically live in them since I am home most of the time now. So they have kind of, because it is a lightweight knit, they do get kind of saggy, like in the knees, you can see, and in the butt. Yeah, saggy butt. Yeah, so I still really, really like this pair. This is probably my favorite. The next pair that I made, this is my husband's favorite. So I knit this out of a sweater net that I got from Joann's a couple years ago. So it's fleece. It's got fleece backing, which makes it super, super warm. But this was a little more difficult to sew with because it's thicker, and there are some like areas of the pattern that where you're basically sewing 4 layers together. So yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy, but it did make it a little more difficult. But these actually hold their shape really, really well because it is a thicker fabric and it's quite sturdy. I don't have any sagging. They fit really well. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the fabric is cute. I probably will look for another fabric like the same weight, but maybe with a different pattern. I'm just not, I mean, it's Christmassy actually, so that kind of works. Yeah, so my last pair is, I think my favorite as far as fabric, but my husband hates these. So I sewed these out of pink stretch velvet, which is kind of reminiscent of the like jogging suits that everyone had in high school. Or well, I went to high school. I was in high school in the 90s. So yeah, everyone had like those jogging or velour jogging suits. Like I think J-Lo had one, and then everyone got one. I had a few, I know. So this is kind of like the 2019 version of the J-Lo velour suit. So yeah, pink stretch velvet. It feels really like glamorous. Or I feel glamorous when I have these on with my robe. So the only mistake I made, I cut the fabric for the ankle band the wrong direction. So it's got like really not that much stretch. So it's hard to get these over my ankles. That was my fault. So I am going to just chop these off, recut the fabric the correct way, and then should not be an issue. But yeah, I'll insert a picture so you guys can kind of see how these pants fit. I mean, they're all over the internet, so you will not have a hard time getting like inspiration if you want to sew these pants. Okay, so I mentioned there would be some new topics that I covered, and this is one of them. So this is something that I don't know if I'll have every podcast, but just kind of when I have projects that I'm on the fence about, I'm going to call this finish or frog. So basically, I have a project that's been languishing, and I'm kind of on the fence as to whether I want to finish it or frog it. So I'm asking you guys what you think, because I know as knitters, well, it would be nice to get the opinion of other knitters, people who understand how hard it is when you've put time and work into a project, just how it can be kind of difficult to make the jump, to rip it back, or maybe we just need a little encouragement to go on and finish it. So my frog or finish project for this week is this top, which is the Sonya tee by Born and Raised Knits. So I love this this pattern, or well, I love this finished project. The color work is kind of a beast, and because it's kind of like a high neck, you really have to get, or not even because it's a high neck. It's just like it's a narrow neck. You really have to be conscious of your gauge, and basically you have to be able to get it on over your head. So this took a lot of trial and error just to knit this on a size needle that would give me enough room to get this over my head. And then you essentially go straight into color work. And as you probably know, when knitting color work, if your floats aren't tensioned properly, it's going to be too tight to get on. So I knit this so many times, and trying to get the floats right, and it really, you have to leave quite a bit of slack to be able to get this on. So my issue with this is, so I wanted something that wasn't too contrasty as far as the main color and the color work, but I think I went too far the other direction. So you can kind of see the color work, especially I went ahead and blocked part of it before I continued knitting. You can see the color work. It's just, I don't know if you can see it enough to really show the effort that's been put in, if that's what I'm trying to say. In the sample version, she used like 2 speckly yarns, so it gave some of that where it kind of melted together, which is what I was going for. But yeah, I think it's just, you really cannot see like all my hard work. I don't know, you can kind of see it, but anyway, I'm just on the fence about this. Has been like sitting here for over a year. The main color I'm using is Madeline Tosh ROSEAUX, and I believe this is called Caffeinated Glory. The contrasting color is the same color I'm using for the main color in my NAVELLI, which is also Madeline Tosh in the Star Scatter colorway. Yeah, anyway, so it's a beautiful shirt. I definitely, if I don't finish this one, I definitely do want to knit it at some point. I'm just trying to decide whether to continue with this one. So please let me know what you think. I also might do a poll on Instagram, like in my Insta stories. I've never done that before, so I think that would be kind of fun. And if you guys have projects that you're on the fence about and you either need someone to tell you just to cut the cord or to like push through and finish it, tag me on Instagram. I don't know, it'd be cool to kind of start a conversation or a thread like surrounding that. I'd love to see like what everyone else is kind of like on the fence about, or like what projects you're just, you know, can't get the motivation to finish. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the new like topics. I would love some feedback. Like let me know what you think, and congratulations to Donna C, who won the giveaway. And again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.